Okay, let's run.
Your mission, should you choose to accept it.
It's a quest. It's a quest for fun.
Well, The Rock says, why don't we just cut right to the chase?
Okay, now he wants to get together. Well, he wants to talk.
I want you to do me a favor. I want you to tell all your friends about me.
It's showtime, folks!
What are you?
Greetings and salutations. Welcome to And I Quote. This is a weekly show where we introduce you to some of the best creators from all over the world, and we find out more about them by taking your questions. I am your host, Ryan of And I Quote channel, and our guest on this episode is someone who is no stranger to skateboarding, playing all the Tony Hawk games since the beginning of time, and then he's just an indie artist that happens to be kicking tail and taking names in his own right. Please welcome Matt Verdell to the stage. Hello, Matt. Good sir. How are you today?
Hey, doing well. Some of my words, man. I just getting up. I'm excited to be here. Yeah.
Oh, it's okay, man. It's still early morning for some of us. We're still getting our morning job of morning coffee.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's all good. Don't worry about it. But it's great to have you here, and it's great to have you here who may be watching or listening to this right now. So don't forget to like and share this with all of your closest friends out there. And if you have any questions for Matt, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. And if you're joining this live or on the replay, thank you so much for doing that. We do appreciate that, with all things considered. With that out of the way, Matt, when did you start reading comic books?
Wow, probably like the earliest I can remember, maybe I was like 7, 8. The first comic books I remember reading were definitely the Archie Sonic comics. I was really, really big into playing Sonic the Hedgehog. I was a Sega Genesis kid. So like X-Men, Streets of Rage, like all those good classic games I loved. And it was my aunt that like got me my first comic book. She used to play a lot of Sega with me, and she used to like low-key teach me a lot of like the secrets and codes and stuff. And she saw that I like drawing, and that was just kind of like her way of slipping me something else extra to do. And from there, yeah, like I just kind of like took off with it.
Oh, nice, man. Nice. Who would you say are some of your favorite comic book writers or artists, past or present?
I actually really, really liked Joe Moderero's art style. There was an issue of X-Men when they were doing the Zero Tolerance storyline with Bastion. And Spider-Man featured in one of the issues, like trying to basically talk Marrow out of doing some really like, irrational thing. And I just like really, really gravitated towards that art style. Like his lines are really bold and dynamic. I also really enjoyed the Peter Parker Spider-Man and Spectacular Spider-Man runs. Gilberto Ramos, like his artwork also really stuck with me. I loved that. Like when Peter had his fight with the Green Goblin, I forget the issue number specifically, but there are a couple of panels where they were fighting. It was really intense. And then they sit down and they have a conversation like with their masks off. And it's just like the heavily stylized lines, the way their jaws were structured, the way the blacks were so bold and the colors popped. It was just something that like I was in high school at the time, and I was really trying to like solidify my own drawing style because I was heavily influenced by that. I was heavily influenced by Bruce Timm's animation style. I really enjoyed the way his lines worked in making the animation so fluid. As far as writers go, I mean, a lot of my favorite writers are people that I know right now. You got like TJ Sterling, you've got Rod Van Blake, you've got like all kinds of people that are in the comics community right now that I definitely look to get inspired by. Okemos was a story that I picked up and started reading a lot just before I started vending. Like I went to AwesomeCon in 2021 and I saw all these indie artists and all these indie comic book writers, Greg Burnham as well, who does Tuskegee Airs, so many other things that he works on. Marcus Williams is an artist that works with him, and his art style also like super dope. So I draw inspiration from a lot of those people, and I think like when I got to the end of that like con year or whatever, just like seeing all these different people buying stuff, and I just felt like I was missing something. So I was like, yo, I need to actually like get down and put all this creative energy I have into, into something real. So that's kind of what I do with it. But yeah.
Cool stuff. And I understood that reference. Rod Van Blake. I know who he is. He's a good guy. I know him.
Yeah, he's super cool.
Good people. Yeah, I see him at conventions a couple times. I think are they going to be tabling? I think this year at AwesomeCon they might have a table there. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm more than certain he'll be at AwesomeCon. I saw him at BlurredCon.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good man. Him and the missus.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I love it. They team up. Yeah, they're the best.
Yeah, like he's got his own thing going on. She's got the Trekkie podcast going on for Star Trek, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
How nerdy can we get here, guys? I mean, geez, live long and prosper, folks. Live long and prosper. I understood that.
Yeah, literally.
I know, right? I understood that reference too. Great stuff. So you kind of segued into it. So let's talk about this a little. Let's go a little deeper here. So I take it some of your favorite, because the next question we have for you is, what would you say are some of your favorite comic-based movies or TV series? And I'm assuming Batman the Animated Series, Spider-Man the Animated Series from '94 on Fox Kids.
Down.
Yeah,
Yes.
X-Men '92 are going to end up on that list somewhere.
Definitely.
Any other titles that I'm missing here as far as favorite comic movie based movies or TV series?
Blade. Definitely Blade. Like, as far as action movies go and comic book adapted action movies go, I think that was literally the coolest iteration adaptation you can get. Like, just stone cold, hard, straight to the point, no games. Like, that Blade, Wesley Snipes killed it. And he also like kind of made people take comic book properties a little bit more seriously. Like when you think about it, if you want to adapt it, you can, put it in a modern setting and have it written and have it work right, and do it in a way that's still palatable, still entertaining, and still faithful to the source material. It takes a lot of work, and it takes people being dedicated to it, but it can happen. Blade proved it. And I trip on it because when that movie came out, I was watching Spider-Man the Animated Series, and the story arc with Morbius and Blade and all that was coming on. So like I connected the two immediately. My mom's like, oh, this is not a cartoon. And I was like, okay, yeah, sure. And then lo and behold, when they made the second Blade movie and you see the Marvel title card in it, you're like, yeah, they got it. So that was a heavy one for me. Also, I'm a martial artist. I grew up doing it. So like seeing Blade, seeing Wesley Snipes do the stunts, like that's really big thing for me. Spider-Man, the first Spider-Man, and the second, Tobey Maguire, like that's probably my chef's kiss of comic book movies. That's like, I could watch Spider-Man 2 every single day, any day. I won't get tired of it. I don't care. I have no shame in it. It's like one of my favorite, like, feel good all around. This is like the quintessential what Peter Parker Spider-Man goes through kind of like storylines. The train scene with Doc Ock, like the effects, the visual aspect of it still holds up. Like that, I could go on about that film. Like the fact that Sam Raimi, digging into like the Evil Dead horror bag with the tentacle scene in the hospital, having it be dead quiet and hearing the screams of people and the tentacles going all around causing mayhem. I was like, it was like, as a director, he still stuck to something that, like, if you know about it, you know it, but it still worked so well in the frame of a comic book movie. Like that was giving you the sense that, yeah, this dude is a monster now. So having Spider-Man fight someone on that level at the time when I was watching it, like, again, I was in high school, like I was young enough to be like really, really impressed by it. And it still has a very long lasting effect. Yeah, I really could go on about that movie. As far as like other films, I don't know. Like a lot of the more recent MCU films, I like them, but I feel like there's just an element that they're lacking in terms of dedication in some aspects, and I feel like that can come that can come from a lot of reasons. That can come from like budgeting. That can come from just, you had a whole COVID bubble where production in general was halted. You have writer strikes. You have visual effects artists that are struggling. You have so many different aspects. You have like people that want to get stories off the ground that aren't getting noticed, but then you have people that are getting stuff greenlit. That's kind of like the wide consensus is like, why are people even approving this property here? So it can feel oversaturated, but at the same time, you can step back and still appreciate some of the things that are already existing. So I definitely stick with the things that I enjoy. I like those, and I try not to pass too much judgment on like a lot of the other newer stuff. But like, it works.
I got you, man. I got you. And when it comes to Blade, the introduction scene, the trench coat, and
The best.
with a pair of shades in the middle, in the dead of night, by the way, in the dead of night, but he can still see out of those things apparently, and take his sword out, draw a line in the sand, and say, "You guys come at me. This is what's going to happen."
Yeah.
And with the techno music playing, I mean, come on, man. I mean, that's one of the best introductions for any character in any film, period. Not just comic book property, just any property, period. Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
it was the craziest type of scene because it's like you would never think about a vampire rave, right? Like
never.
Like who in the world? But like, yeah, that was nuts. And like just again, like and the fact that you got so much of Blade's personality in that scene too, without him saying anything. Like you can tell he lives for it, because when he pulled out the thing, I don't even know what it's called, but when he pulled the thing out that spins around when he threw it and he smiled first, like, watch this. Shoom, and then everybody's head gets cut off and then he catches it again. And it was like, wow. All right.
It's like a batarang type thing.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the exact name of that piece of weaponry is called because they never addressed it in the film or films for that matter. But it's kind of in this case we can call it a bladerade. Maybe
bladerade.
I don't know. Batarang, bladerang. I don't know. Someone come up with a name for it. Drop it in the comments. Drop it in the chat because we are here with the great Matt Verdell in this episode of And I Quote. Do not forget to like and share this episode. And if you're joining this live or what is known as a replay, thank you so much for doing so. Yeah, Spider-Man. Dude, let me tell you something about Spider-Man 1. 2002 comes around. And all of you who were there for this know what I'm about to say. It was a hard time, right? We got through 9/11. We needed something. We needed some hope. And Spider-Man comes in, and not only does he come in with the suit looking fantastic, but the upside down kiss between him and MJ is the stuff of every boy and girl's dreams. And not only that, you get the song at the end, by Chad Kroeger and Josie Scott. They say that a hero. Because I mean,
at
hero,
the time, it definitely hit. At the time, it was definitely hitting like the right note.
We needed that, and that is a song that was played continuously on my Discman. That's right, Discman. Anybody remember Discman? I was playing that all the time, Matt. And not only that, we had youth retreats where we were talking about Spider-Man. I'm like, yes, because Spider-Man's freaking awesome. It's a great movie because I'm watching, all of us who are 90s kids, we're watching the animated series, and that's one thing, right? That's one piece of medium. But when you see it translated in your face as a live action thing, and by the way, for those of you who were in the theater when the first trailer for that dropped, and it's Tobey Maguire doing the narration saying, "Who am I? You sure you want to know? The story of my life is not for the faint of heart." Da 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 da. Yeah. And then who am I? I'm Spider-Man. And then that hard like trailer beat just kicks in. You're thinking to yourself, oh my gosh, I can't believe what I'm hearing. There's going to be a live action Spider-Man movie. Spider-Man is real. Yes. Give it to me. I want it. And we went to the theaters. Opening weekend, right? May 3rd, 2002. The world blew up. The theaters blew the roof off the place. Millions and millions of people were in the theater, jam-packed. It blew all the box office records for that time in 2002, right? So my hat's off to everybody. 2002, I mean, we were there, man. We felt it.
Yeah.
We hear it, we see it, we feel it, and it's a vibe. You just know it. And
the theme song too by Danny Elfman, I still get chills in my spine whenever I'm watching the film, and it's like, and then you see the web spinning in the intro. That still like gets me, man. Like it was so well done. Also, Danny Elfman did,
he did Batman.
I was just gonna say, yes, he did. So it's like you see the consistency between people that do all these different properties and are passionate about it, and they create such amazing things. And I feel that, and that's kind of like what Black Lotus is. All these different things that I feel so passionately about, I want to combine and express it into a new form or medium or share it in a different way. So that's, yeah, that definitely brings me to it. Thank you for that.
Oh, no worries, no worries. And it's funny. I feel like you're wearing Cerebro and you're sensing all my thoughts because I feel like you're telegraphing all the next questions. Which in this case, what made you decide? What made you decide to become an indie artist?
Yeah, man, honestly, it was just this compulsive need to keep creating that I didn't want to fight anymore. Like, I want to say I've always been drawing ever since I was a kid. I didn't really do digital stuff until like 2020 or so. It was always on paper. I never messed with color. It was just paper and illustration. That was kind of it. I started painting like when I got out of high school. I graduated high school in 2007, just to give you a range on how old I am. And around like 2008 or 9, I met a friend of mine, and I was buying blank boards and just spray painting, stencils, and just spray painting cool designs on them. Me and him were skating them. We were making videos. We would occasionally sell them to friends of ours. And it was just fun at the time. Like, it was something to do in college. I wanted to make something out of it. I had a name for it and used to use it as a theme for my videos. And it was just another way for me to mix like mediums and media and just kind of like navigate where I wanted to go with it. It was fun. I stopped doing it for a while. I kind of worked off and on. Like I started directing. Well, I started teaching skateboarding at summer camps, and I started directing at summer camps and getting more involved in that. And doing more volunteer skateboarding, like recreational side of things, working more full time. And then around 2015 or so, I started actually painting again. A friend of mine, Top Fall, I'm gonna throw him a shout out. Top Fall was just like, yo, you should actually draw characters on the board with paint marker. And I was like, what? All I did was use paint and just spray and just try to create stencils. I never thought about doing that. He was like, yeah, try it. And, because at the time I started buying blanks again, just kind of just having something to do. And we would just kind of have like a chill and paint. Like we'll have those kind of sessions at my place for a bit. And when he mentioned it, I started kind of playing around with the idea. And at first I would use my recycled boards, like my old boards that I already skated, and I would just see what kind of characters I could draw, see how I could pull it off, because the shape of the board is different. You're not drawing on paper. The board has a concave, especially if you've already skated it. It has scratches, it has grooves, all these things, may have stickers, whatever, right? So keeping all that in mind, the shape, the diameter, all that stuff, it changes how you want to fit your composition or how you want to pose your character or how you want to draw it. I mean, unless you're doing something more abstract in the first place. So for me, that was a process of figuring out, and it was really just kind of like, I'm having fun with it. And in conjunction, at the time when I was still working at the rec center, I used to do a lot of artwork for the community centers. Like they had Halloween haunts, they would have winter stuff. I would create coloring books like with characters and stuff. I would do stuff for their teens programs, like create posters and stuff whenever they were having theme parties or events. So it was something that was very fulfilling, that kind of kept me involved in art, and I didn't really feel pressured about it. And I was still getting paid. I was still technically getting paid. So it was just another way for me to kind of like still figure out what I wanted to do. And I started going to conventions. I mean, I've always been going to conventions since like 2011. My first Awesome Con was like 2017. And I started going to more other types of shows. Like my first one was Baltimore Comic Con in 2011. I used to go to that one a lot. Awesome Con was my second. And then I just bounced back and forth between those. And I used to see a lot of the same faces, like whether they were cosplaying, whether they were vending, whether they were comic book creators or writers, or, people that I always wanted to run into. Like, I didn't even realize I have like stacks of this person's, comic book right here behind me. And and it was just kind of like I didn't realize the proximity that I had to what I really wanted to do. It's really not that far of a bridge. When you really want to create something, you just have to see yourself doing it and make it happen. And I didn't see myself doing it, but I started making steps to making it happen. Um, I started drawing digital stuff in 2020, and it was just like, again, not something that I was taking seriously, like just like the kind of stuff I was doing at home and at work, just playing around with it. I was using my phone. I got a new phone. It was the Galaxy Note 10 or something like that. It had a stylus. And I was rotoscoping some frames of me, like doing some martial arts kicks and doing some skateboarding tricks and stuff like that. And I drew all the frames together and I put them on an editing software and I ran them all together and it looked like a really pretty fluid animation. And I was like, oh wow, this is pretty cool. And that I think like maybe a couple weeks right after that, COVID got really bad. And then quarantine hit, nobody was going anywhere. So I was like, oh, I have all this time to be at home. I have a little bit of spare change. Let me go ahead and throw in a laptop and I got a drawing tablet. With it came Clip Studio Paint, and I went ahead and got a trial run for a software called Toon Boom Harmony. And I was like, let me just jump in and see how this stuff works because I already kind of am going for it. And a lot of the digital work was stuff that I'd already drawn in my sketchbook, and I just scanned and I just went over and colored it. And then I started getting more comfortable with drawing on the tablet. And then I got an all-in-one laser printer scanner thing. And I was like, let me just, try to streamline as much as I can at home. So all my prints are done in-house. I have a Cricut back there that I try to use for my stickers, and it is a pain. But, it's a process that I'm working on as well. And like those things, I was just putting together, just not realizing the intention that I was manifesting. Like I nowhere in my mind was I thinking, oh, I'm going to be a vendor and artist as I was doing this stuff. Like it was just kind of this compulsive need to do it. Like you have an itch in the back of your head and you're scratching it, but you don't like, no one asks like, why is it itching? What's going on back there? Like, it just kind of happens and you're like, all right, now I feel better and I can move on. So that's what started to happen. And then AwesomeCon 2021 hit. And I was like, nah, something's actually not right. I think I'm on the wrong side of the tables here. Like I felt like I'm on the wrong side. I was like, I need to do something about this. Let me just see what it costs to actually be in there. Maybe it's not that bad because I already have stuff, kind of like stacked up. And then that was kind of it. I sent in my application. I created a website like immediately after I sent in the Artist Alley application. And then I got waitlisted and I was a little discouraged at first, but like maybe a month or two before the convention, I got the notice that I was in. And I was like, oh, what? Oh, I'm actually doing it now, So then it became all right, well, what am I missing? What are the things that draw me to other people's tables that I always saw? It's like the banners, the table signs. It's like all these different things that solidify your brand and what you do as an artist and how you really like showcase who you are and how you want to share that with people. And the Black Lotus was something that kind of always just stuck in the back of my head. I was always drawing like the B and the L, like this Lotus insignia was something that I always kind of sketched around, just sitting in the back, never really like I knew I wanted to do something with it. Like I had just an endless list of like potential outcomes for it. And I want to get to those things, but I had to start somewhere and I didn't know where to start or how to start until I just started doing it. So I feel like that was a really long-winded answer.
Yeah. I mean, you went about 6 miles past the finish line there, brother. But no, it's not a bad thing at all. Once again, thanks for being with us on this episode of Quote with Matt Verdell, aka The Dissertation. Do not forget to like and share. I mean this in the best way, by the way. I mean this in the best way possible. Do not forget to like and share this with all of your closest friends who are into these dissertation kind of answers. And if you're enjoying this stuff or on a replay, thank you for doing it. If you have any questions for Matt, please let us know in the comments of the chat. Love to hear from you. I mean, dude, after hearing that Eat Your Hollywood story, man, I got to give you props by doing this.
Yes! Hell yeah! Hey, come on, baby! Come on! Yes! Come on! Ah! Yes! Yes!
I mean, geez, man.
Yeah, no, it was a very
Yeah, you go one direction, you figure out a way to go another, and then you go another direction, and you're like, oh my gosh, I was meant to be in this spot the whole time. It's just it took me a minute to get there because, all our creativity, has its peaks and valleys, right? Like you have your high times, your low times, and then all of a sudden it just kind of all the pieces start to fit together. And now here you are. Am I right?
yeah, definitely. And it was like the question was like answering other questions as I was going along. And I was like, wow, you know what, what was this journey really like?
Mm.
And because I've been doing it for 4 years now, and I never actually like answered that question before. So
First time for everything, ladies and gentlemen. That's why we have these wonderful shows on Internet Quote Channel where we embrace the nerd within you, which is that's our core. That's our mission statement right there. So no comments about that. So the next question for your 600-page dissertation, as I'm sure I'm writing this one down. I'm sure I'm going to regret asking you this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. No, I'm just kidding. We love you, brother. What are some of the rewards of being an indie artist in your mind?
okay, well, keeping it brief, I will say the rewards are definitely connecting. I don't think of myself as selling my art as much as letting my art find a home. Like, this is an extension of what I do, how I live, who I am. So it's like my life force that I'm putting into my work, giving to people. So when people see something and it connects, whether it's like nostalgia driven, like, oh, I used to remember that show, or whether it's just the stylized lines of it, like, oh, that's really cool, that invokes something in me, like I really think that's sick. That kind of stuff, when people, for whatever reason, it motivates or draws them to it and they can appreciate it, that connection is shared. And that's something that I really look forward to. And seeing my art especially, motivate younger people the same way that it did for me, like, huge reward. Like, if someone can definitely come up and say, oh wow, I love the fact that you do this, and my son draws, and he really loves your work, and he's been creating stuff, and that kind of thing is really cool. Just being able to express and share just a mutual shared interest in something too, like both of us all have, or all of us have, this respect and love for this particular fandom, and we're showing our appreciation for it through our art. Other people are showing their appreciation for it by supporting it and us at the same time. So yeah, I feel like that definitely gives me a lot to take home, and it fuels me to keep doing it.
Rock on, man. Rock on. Flip side of the coin, though, biggest challenges about being an indie artist.
Almost the same thing, trying to sell it. Like, it's like I have to make a living. I have to justify the amount of money that I put into it. Not the time. The time is always worth it. The experience is always worth it. Meeting people, doing what I do, always worth it. But the economic aspect of it sucks. The marketing aspect of it, having to get on Instagram and create reels and create edits and videos of my art, when all I want to do is just draw. I just want to draw and put it up, let people enjoy it, paint, put it up, skate, put it up, like, and just let that be it. But having to kind of like do the whole salesman aspect, or at least get into the marketing or branding aspect of it, does diminish a little bit of the authenticity to me, because as a skater, I just don't like any of that commercialized stuff. I would rather just be as authentic as I can, put it out there, and whoever enjoys it, cool. Like, I take no offense in something not being a particular person's taste or aesthetic, because everyone has their own preference. But if I still want to make my table costs, if I still want to justify the cost of my travel or my hotel, or, like the amount of ink that I spend and paper, stuff like that, that's when, it can be a challenge, certainly. but it's one that, I chalk it up to the game.
Yeah, I gotcha. I got you. You just want to cut straight into the point. I can
Mhm.
understand. Have you been practicing? I'm assuming your elevator pitch when you're at tables and booths at these shows.
Uh, I don't know. Like I I sort of off and on like would try, then I'm like, ah man, this feels corny. I don't
Yeah.
really I don't really want to do it. Like I like, just saying hi. I like engaging with people when they come up. That's always what I do. Like
Yeah.
I'll always speak. I always make eye contact because people
Mhm.
walk by, people see something, and I kind of try to step back and just let them see what they want to see. Like I don't want to be in people's faces saying, "Hey, you like this? You want to buy this?" Like that kind of stuff. It kind of puts people off. Like they're already paying to be at the show. They've already paid for the ticket. They're already going to pay for the photo op or the signature or whatever it is that they're getting. So anything else that they see that draws them towards my table, that's genuinely because they genuinely like whatever it is that they're being drawn towards. So I don't want to ruin their moment. I want them to, be able to browse through. And I always encourage people. I say, hey, just look through. Like, I don't care if you actually buy something, but if you want to come and look and see my art, and say, hey, your art is really sick. Cool. Like that acknowledgement, that validation means that I can continue going because someone that really wants to take it home will take it home. So, yeah.
Okay, I understand. I can dig it. No, for sure, I can dig it. To give people an idea of what your work and the person maybe watching or listening to this right now, Matt Verdell's work. So, got some pictures here. So let's take a look at this for a second because I'm seeing some X-Men here. Obviously, because X-Men. I mean, '92, baby. Come on, who wasn't there
Yeah.
for that shiznit? But just for those of you who are watching or listening to this, tell us exactly what we're looking at here, Matt.
Sure. So you got a number of my canvases. You have my prints. You have a couple of my decks up there. You definitely have stickers. So the X-Men, the Daredevil, those are actually my idea of what I call Thrasher comic covers.
Hmm.
So is taking Thrasher magazine covers and Marvel comic covers or DC comic covers, whatever comic cover property, mashing it together. Um, so I really wanted to kind of capture the essence of both properties in my work. So that's why you see the X-Men kind of fonted in the Thrasher font. And the Sentinel is referenced from an X-Men cover. I can't remember the exact number of the issue, but I'm sure if you Google it, like just take that image and Google it, you'll find it. But it's a 2-page spread cover, and the skating is actually a reference from Mason Silva. He's doing that exact trick on like a canyon, and it was a Thrasher magazine cover. And I want to say it was Skater of the Year cover. It might not have been, but I know Mason Silva was a Skater of the Year like in recent years. The dude is amazing. So that was like those two mixed together really well for me. And the Daredevil one is a favorite of mine because the skater that I use as a reference for that is Milton Martinez. And if you watch this dude skating, he's a madman, like literally man without fear. So when you think about Daredevil, the man without fear, I was like, this is too easy, you know? So in that photo, Milton Martinez is kickflipping into this really steep like bank off of the roof of this car wash. And it's like one of the sickest cover photos I've ever seen. It was one of my favorites. And I thought, how sick would it be if Daredevil was kickflipping off of a rooftop into another rooftop? And of course, he would be more than coordinated to do it. Like the man's more than like, superhuman level acrobat. Like, of course, he could do it. So that was really easy, really fun for me to put together. The hard part was just trying to balance the spacing from the building to the rooftop. So finding ways to work around those challenges and getting the cover adaptations was something fun. I like taking a lot of time with that. Static Shock was actually referenced from Ron Allen. He's one of the first Black professional skateboarders, actually. And yeah, H Street Pro. He actually skates well, he's all over the place, but he makes his own music. He comes up to the DMV. I've seen him in the DMV quite a few times. He's in his, I want to say, early 60s maybe, and he rips, like still rips, like insane. So I have a lot of respect for Ron Allen, and that was a photo of him that I saw. I think it was like in the UK. It was like a UK contest photo. But the Static Shock, I mean, who doesn't love Static? And just seeing him flying around on the surfboard thing, I don't know what you call it, but I was like, I'm gonna turn into a board. It was too easy, too easy. So a lot of my work is, I find it a fun kind of challenge, a little bit of a puzzle to get the reference to match the character, to get the character to look like the intended property that I want to represent. And then to get the reaction from people too is what I love the most about it, because people always are like, wow, that person's skating. I can never picture that person skating. And it's like, but you do now. Cause it's like, it is something that makes me feel like it is truly unique, because I don't see many skateboarders that are into nerddom. I haven't met any hardcore that I go through conventions and I'm like, hey, you know what? I seen this guy at the park. At least not yet. I won't say that none exist. I'm sure they do. I'm sure they just haven't seen my table yet. So after they see this, they'll probably, know who I am. But in as far as like skateboarding, it kind of intersects with every aspect of pop and creative culture, in my opinion. Like music, fashion, journalism, film, movies. Like, I mean, it goes on. Like, there's so many different ways you can connect skateboarding to, your personal life, at least for me. So having the same effect with my art, or with comics, or with anime, or with cartoons, or with, martial arts films, or action films in general, like, yeah, that pretty much encapsulates my art.
Yeah, it's pretty cool stuff. I mean, and this is the thing about being an indie artist too that I've learned. Standing out from the crowd is not always an easy thing to do. But you and your skateboarding and your experience playing all 60,000 iterations of Tony Hawk and the undergrounds and skateboarding and working with the rec centers and working with the kids, all this kind of jazz, it's very unique in its styling and profiling, as the Nature Boy Ric Flair might say. For those of you who are pro wrestling fans out there, because I grew up watching wrestling when I was
yes, sir.
When I was younger, I watched wrestling for almost a decade, and those were some of the best times of my life, man. Because flipping between, at the time anyway, when you were flipping between TNT and USA, between Monday Nitro and Monday Night Raw, come on, man. Like those were intense, crazy times. And the more I hear about it, the more documentaries that have been presented about the Monday Night Wars between WWE and WCW.
Yeah.
It's fascinating stuff, man. It really is, because there are so many things going on behind the scenes that not a lot of fans knew about, and then people writing, these big checks to get these talents to come over and work for them for, more money, but they didn't have to work as many days during the year as other wrestlers and other promotions would have had to, right? So yeah, if you're a wrestling fan, go back and watch the Monday Night Wars documentaries. There's like 5, 6, 7, it's probably 10 of them now. But go back and watch all the documentaries. There's some fascinating pieces of material. Other than that, I also heard that Matt Verdell likes to rub elbows with some of Hollywood's elites. So to share with you another example of his work here, we got Matthew Wood, aka the voice of General Grievous, and like hundreds of other characters, because this man has been a voiceover actor, right? He's been in sound design for Lucasfilm and other productions over the many, many years in his career. And little did I know that this man right here, Matt Wood, the voice of General Grievous, an evil, conniving, sick robot in episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, which turns 20 this year, believe it or not, used to be a skateboarder in a previous life. So Matt, I'm just curious, because this is how Matt and I knew each other. We were standing in line to meet these two actors, Helen Sadler and Matt Wood, who were celebrity guests at Farpoint Convention 2025, which was held, I believe, in Pikesville, Maryland, if I'm not mistaken. So What was this interaction like with Matt Wood? And the other thing is, how long did it take you to put this skateboard deck together? What did you do to make this happen?
Okay, cool. So the board was something that I literally started and finished during the convention weekend. Like, I believe Farpoint went Saturday and Sunday. I pulled up Friday. I started painting like Saturday morning because I drove into town. I wanted to sleep in for a bit, get some rest, kind of like get my bearings and get able to set up. I woke up at the crack of dawn and literally put out the tarp, started spraying my first and second layers and let it dry. Put the primer over it, kind of seal it, and then I was like, all right, I'm going to start getting to work as soon as my table set up. So I started drawing immediately, and it helped that I already had the photo, I already had the reference, I already had the idea of how I wanted to place them on the board, and I'd already kind of like painted the planets and arranged it in a way that like I wanted to showcase the galaxy, and I wanted to leave enough space between that and him without one disrupting the other. So once I had that figured out, I was like locked in. So once you've done enough of these shows, you get to a kind of rhythm of drawing and engaging with people. And I think that part of that comes with being in an environment that I'm already comfortable in. I love going to cons. I love being around the people there. I love just all that energy, all of it. And it fuels what I do. And it makes it easier for me to just, get cranking on it. So Saturday, I got most of it done. I pretty much got the bulk of it done Saturday. And I kind of just let it sit for a while. I touched it up a little bit Saturday night when I got back to my room. And then Sunday morning, I did some final detail on it. And then I sprayed my finisher over it. And I was like, this is it. It's ready to go. Because I knew there was only like a limited amount of time before, Matt was probably not going to be available for any autographs. I think he had like a panel or something else coming up. And after that, the convention would have been over. So I was like, I got one shot. I'm going to take it. Yeah.
It's pretty wild stuff, man. What was your interaction with him like? What was his reaction when this was brought to his attention? Did Matt lose his mind?
Yeah, he was. So it was crazy to know that he actually used to skate. And he was like thrilled to see that I painted a board with his character on it. And he was just like, wow, no, this is sick. And then that kind of recognition for me was like, bro, like what is happening? Because, like you said, like I watched these films. I've watched episode 2, like 3. I watched Clone Wars. Like this guy was nefarious. So having him be so down to earth, and not only did he give his autograph, not only did he give his quote, but when we were talking about him skating, he was like, yeah, I used to ride like Bones Brigade. I had a Steve Caballero board. I was like, the fact that you still remember which board you had from the era that you skated in tells me everything that I need to know. And it was like, we're both Matts. Of course she's gonna be cool. Like I had, just the greatest time, and it really felt like a genuine interaction. None of it felt transactional. None of it felt like, oh, this is just another fan giving me something. Like, no, it was really, really cool. And he signed Bones Brigade on it. He signed the year that he skated. And another thing is that the deck is actually getting donated to the art auction for Farpoint for next year. So that's also like even better. So
Well, don't be surprised if I win the lottery. I have a nice little checkbook in my back pocket when I show up to Farpoint, and I bid on that sucker, and I bring it home with me because I said this to Matt when I had a moment to talk to Matt Wood at Farpoint. Like I said, this is how Matt Verdell and I met each other. And I was talking to Helen Sadler primarily because she was the voice of Jyn Erso in the video games, the cartoons, and all that stuff. And I'm a huge Rogue One fan. Huge. like Rogue One. Rogue One, like it gets talked about a lot. It's not like it's thrown under the bus by any stretch of the imagination, but I feel like Rogue One kind of gets overlooked at times because it's a separate movie from all the other ones, which I get because it was a spin-off, it's an anthology film, it's all this kind of stuff. But when you look at it, I mean, if you're going to start watching Star Wars, because a lot of people say, well, just go back and watch the original trilogy, then go to the prequels and so on and so forth, right? There's no right or wrong way to explore the galaxy far, far away. But in my opinion, if you're going to start with anything, watch Rogue One and then immediately watch New Hope. Because the way they interlope into each other is phenomenal. And Rogue One is it's a great film. I don't think it's necessarily underrated, but sometimes it just kind of gets overlooked to a bit of a degree. But Helen Sadler was very, very good to me. So that interaction, very, very good to me. And then when I'm interacting with Matt Wood, he just seems like a chill, laid back dude who like can talk about whatever. And I told Matt, I said, Matt, listen, I think your voice work is really good stuff. It's just that me and the prequels, we don't get along very well. I'm just gonna let you know. I'm sorry. And he's like, no, man. I get it. Believe me, you're not the first person to drop that. And I'm like, yeah, I'm sure, because let's face it, the prequels are not, I mean, in my opinion, the prequels are not very good films at all, but there are a section of the fans that worship the ground that those three films walk on. And listen, that's fine. You can stay in that corner and celebrate the prequels all you want. But for me, the only one I can remotely watch and get through is Phantom Menace, because Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan together are badass mamma jammas. And then the lightsaber duel at the end with Darth Maul and the Duel of the Fates playing in the background, Matt. Yeah. That is some of the best Star Wars you're ever going to see, period. So, I mean, that's my favorite prequel, personally.
I will say that each prequel delivered a significant moment that every Star Wars fan can appreciate. Even if you don't like the film in its entirety, there's like you said in the episode 1, the final lightsaber battle, like top tier. Episode 2, I mean, you have Mace Windu, like you have Mace Windu with a purple lightsaber. Like that's something that we can take away with that. Like that was really badass. And then episode 3, I mean, even though there are things that like are left to be desired, you still have like some really cool saber fights in that too. So
and then it's sad because everybody dies in the end. # spoiler alert. But when all the Jedi are being killed off, like, dude, it hurts, man. It hurts watching that. And the score, once again, we got to give credit to Johnny Boy here. John Williams, the man who's been doing this for, what is it, 60, 75 some odd years, which is insane to think of, by the way, because the guy just turned like 95, I think, didn't he turn 95 like late last year, earlier this year, whichever it was?
I couldn't tell you, but that is still crazy.
Yeah, but the guy's still kicking, man. So, I mean, his scores are great, but yeah, no, but Matt Wood, what I'm trying to say is to sum this up, because I know we're kind of, diving off the boards here. Matt Wood is a cool dude. If you ever see him at a con, whether you know Star Wars or not, hang out with the guy. Just talk to him for 5 minutes, because he's really cool. He wants to hear what's going on in your neck of the woods. He loves hearing questions about voiceover work. He loves hearing questions about sound design, all this kind of stuff. Like, and little did we know, I didn't know he was a skateboarder in a previous life. That's insane. So he could probably talk your ear off about, oh yeah, man, I remember I was doing that. Yeah, like it's very, very good to me. Star Wars, very, very good to me. So I got no problems talking the war and the stars, Matt, because you and I can talk about Star Wars all day, son. So just out of curiosity, though, what's your favorite Star Wars movie?
Ooh. I mean,
out of all 20 of them, because I know there's a million of them out there, but what's your favorite one of the bunch?
I guess, I don't know. If I had to pick just one.
I mean, I know it's not easy playing favorites. We do this on the show quite a bit, and everyone tells me, why are you making me say it? Well, I'm like, it's an interesting question to ask.
I guess
if you're gonna say one of the prequels, it's okay. We can take it. It's okay. We can handle it.
No, it's like I enjoy the prequels. I do actually like the prequels, but I wouldn't say that they were any particular one of them were a favorite of mine.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah. I guess I've always been a fan of the classic Luke. I'm trying to remember. I think it's Empire Strikes Back is my favorite one.
Sure.
And it's just got Mark Hamill, like,
at his best.
Mark Hamill, dude. Like
Mark Hamill, it's the Joker.
He's like he's like a definitely deserves a lifetime Emmy Achievement Award or something, just for the
Accolades.
sheer,
Yeah.
just for the sheer amount of, like you said, accolades,
Yeah.
like different
Look at
characters.
what he did for Batman as Joker. I mean,
Yeah, yeah, Batman, regular show, Avatar, The Last
video
Airbender,
games, the
the
video
video
games,
games,
all
like
of it, man.
it's yeah. I mean, just
Okay.
amazing.
Empire. That's a good one. You know why? Because 99.9999999% of the fandom say, "Oh, my favorite and the best Star Wars movie is Empire Strikes Back." Gee, I wonder why.
Mm.
Yeah.
Maybe because it's the best.
Well, because everyone says it's the best. I'm like, okay, fine. Just like they say Star Trek II Wrath of Khan is the best of the Trek movies, which is fine. My personal favorite is First Contact, in my opinion, because Picard is the man. No offense to
Well,
Kirk, which I know he's watching this right now, but Picard is my man. Okay.
honestly, yeah, I am Picard over Kirk.
Yeah, because I mean, look at
Um,
what he did. He goes from Picard, and then 2 minutes later, he's playing Charles Xavier for the
yeah,
next 20 years of his life. Which, thank you, Patrick Stewart, because when I
yeah,
imagine this film coming out, the moment they said they were making a live action X-Men, I'm like, well, you got to cast Stewart because he's really the only person I can think of who could play Xavier. And little
yeah,
did Hollywood listen to me, because they don't
yeah.
do this often, Matt. They don't do this very often. But Hollywood listened to my phone call and they said, yes, Ryan, we're going to cast Patrick Stewart from that little series called Star Trek Next Generation. We're going to make him Professor Charles Xavier. I'm like, great. You made the
Thank you
right
for
choice.
making that phone
You
call.
did it.
Thank you for doing that. Like
Yeah.
you seriously solidified
He was great.
something great.
He
Yeah,
was wonderful. I mean, he's one of the best character actors ever. Patrick Stewart's the man. He is. And when I'm reading X-Men comics, I'm hearing it really doesn't matter whether it's him or James McAvoy, because both
yeah,
him and McAvoy killed it. They both
yeah,
killed it.
yeah,
But if I'm reading an
yeah.
X-Men comic, I'm probably thinking more Stewart than McAvoy. But then again, if I'm reading like a younger iteration of the characters, then
Hmm.
I'm thinking of McAvoy, because McAvoy just nailed it.
He did his thing.
Nailed
He
it.
did his thing, and despite all the flaws with the first
Mhm.
class and that whole
Like the rebooted
convoluted mess that they
trilogy.
did,
Yeah.
I mean, I like things about First Class, but I did not like it in its entirety.
Mm,
Okay,
mm,
I can, and I say that with all the love and care, and
okay.
respect for the X-Men movie franchise. I
Mhm.
love what they did with it, especially for it being the first time getting on screen, getting these kind of adaptations out. Like, I'll give their studios and their teams all the credit in the world.
Yeah.
But you know,
Something was
yeah, yeah.
missing. I don't know. But well, I'll tell you what. Well, they improved. In my opinion, they improved on it, because my favorite X-Men movie of all time is Days of Future Past.
Days
That
of Future Past are
movie
dope.
takes two generations of X-Men, ropes them together, and you get two generations of X-Men fans in the theater to see this movie, and you bring them together seamlessly, in my opinion, seamlessly. Whether you're
Yeah.
watching the theatrical cut or the road cut, because the road cut is actually very, very good. I actually think it improves on the
See,
theatrical cut.
I
But there's
don't
no
know if
right
I
or wrong
saw
way
the
to
road
watch
cut.
it, because both versions of the film are great.
I just don't like what they did with Bishop. Like,
I mean,
like why even put him in the film? Like,
I mean,
like it just that's
he was fine for what he was given. I liked him. Omar Sy is the actor, right? Omar
yeah,
Sy,
no, not to shade the actor. I mean, as far as like
he was fine.
what the movie plotline did with his character.
Oh,
Like, I
that I
felt
can
like
understand. Yeah,
that's where I'm getting at.
you're
Not
right. You're
who
right.
they casted or him. No,
Yeah,
cool.
he was
He's
great.
spot on, perfect.
Mm.
But he was not utilized properly in
Yeah,
the
kind of a
storyline.
background character, right?
Yeah, yeah. And Bishop to me is not a background character.
No, he was insanely crucial to the what do you call it, the Days of Future Past storyline, because in the animated series,
Exactly my point.
he has
So
the
it's like,
risk.
why even title it the freaking movie if you're not even gonna have him?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, in that iteration, it was Bishop making all the choices, and then in the original comic book, it was Kitty Pryde making all the decisions, and she was the
Yeah.
one going back in time.
Yeah.
AKA Shadowcat, for those of you wondering
Shadowcat.
what X-Men character we're talking about, because it was Shadowcat in the original comic, and then Bishop did it in kind of a soft reboot of the story, or a loose adaptation of the animated series from '92.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
thought, oh, this is interesting. Bishop going back in time, because I don't know much about this character, period. But then when you learn about him in the X-Men animated series, it's like, ooh, this one's not to be trifled with. This guy is huge. He's bulking. He's massive. He's got this gun that sucks all the energy out of somebody.
And all the attitude, man. I love
the
it.
attitude. He's got the charisma. He's got the attitude swagger about him. It's kind of like a Gambit kind of thing. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
man, Gambit versus Bishop, Bishop versus Gambit, or Gambit and Bishop team up and go back at whatever. Like I would like that's a road movie that I would like to see. Gambit and
Yeah, like
Bishop. That'd be
then
kind of
him
cool.
and the dynamic between him and Wolverine when he was first going back trying to look for the assassin and all this other stuff. Like
Yeah,
there was, I felt like you really could have.
could have done something there.
But I mean, I'm not a Hollywood guy, so
No, neither am I. Neither am I. I'm not sitting in the meetings at Lucasfilm, you know, and whatever else is going on, or Marvel Comics or Marvel Studios, whatever it's called. What do you call
Yeah.
it? Marvel something? I don't know. But once again, we are here with Matt Verdell, not Matt Wood. But Matt Verdell is here, and he is the man of the hour, the man with all the power. And if you have any questions for him, let us know in the comments. Exactly. See what I did there? I'm plugging you. So, and don't forget to like and share this with all of your closest friends. If you're joining this live, or on the replay, thank you for doing that. Outside of meeting Matt Wood, has there been any other special memories for you from being at conventions or other events, whether you're there as a vendor or there as an attendee that you have not shared with us yet?
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
Anything at all?
Well, Mortal Kombat, like the OG Mortal Kombat guys. So we're talking about Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Kung Lao, the guys that did the motion capture for the original game. They did the graphic art, they did the stand-in, they did the animation. I mean, like when you think about how iconic Mortal Kombat is, not just as a video game franchise, but as like a pop culture staple, right? Like Mortal Kombat, if my memory serves me correct, is part of the reason why the ESRB even became a thing. So like we're thinking about the fact that you have people being rendered and making moves, and these guys are real martial artists. So for me, as someone who is a child of the 90s, watched Power Rangers, somersault from my couch, you know, into the kitchen and all that other stuff, like that kind of action stuff, I lived off of it. Playing Mortal Kombat, lived off of it. Street Fighter, fighting games, Tekken, like all of it, right? These guys to me were very influential on so many levels because like the ninjas, the all that stuff influences my art too. Like it's all sick. So finding out that they were in Ocean City Comic Con, I was like, I have to meet them. I have to get my stuff signed. And I had just lucked up being able to get a table in time for that weekend. And when I met them, it was like I could not have been more honored. And they were extremely generous, humble. I had two of the frame prints you see behind me, Scorpion and Sub-Zero. I had copies framed that I was giving to them because I was like, this is my tribute to you guys. I don't want to just come empty-handed and ask for, you know, a photo or an autograph, because I wanted, you know, to get autographed and have for my collection, because I started getting my prints signed by the people that are behind the scenes of the work that influences me and adding it, you know, just for myself. But explaining that to them, they were like, you know, as artists, as martial artists, we feel you. That's something that we connected with. I had like the most, I couldn't even put it into words. It was such a great and unique experience being able to share that with them, share my story, talk with them about it, getting insight from them, from how they worked on the development and still worked on the development. Like they were still consulting all the way up until the Injustice games. Like they still are really, really involved in the franchise. And I think about the film, like that 90s film was amazing. That like kickstarted so many other things. So they are the catalyst for that. So for it to all come back to me in my face was very surreal. And for Daniel Pesina to have his own authentication seal, I just I felt like I won the lottery. You know, it was really cool. And Kung Lao and Raiden and Sub-Zero and Scorpion and Johnny Cage just all in one like photo with me. It was really amazing. So I actually recently drew a Raiden piece to kind of keep the trend going. So I'm hoping to run into them again sometime in the future.
So in other words, it was a Flawless victory.
Oh,
I mean, come on. Yeah, dude. Yeah. When I saw that, I was like, man, because I've been meaning to go to OC Comic Con for so many years, and every time
it's so
something comes
fun.
up, scheduling doesn't work out. And I'm a big fan of what James Dufendock, the guy who runs the show, is doing. He's a great guy. We've had him on the show many years ago when we were in lockdown. He was one of the first people we had. He's a great guy. He's got a lot of things going for him, and he's still doing it. So, James, keep doing what you're doing, man. I'm going to get myself down there. We're going to hang out. Ocean City is my home away from home. I grew up in Ocean City, going there every summer with my family. Ocean City has for those of you who are Marylanders, Ocean City, Maryland holds a very, very special place in this man's heart. And I'm sure it may do for you as well if you're a Marylander and you've been down to the Eastern Shore, as one might say. And it's a great venue too. The convention center has expanded a lot over the years, and they've done a lot of renovations, right, Matt? And
yeah, it was really, really nice venue.
James is doing a lot of cool things with it too. He's like expanding the artist alley element of it. He's like putting more things in the other rooms. So yeah, it's growing quite a bit, right?
Yeah. So, and that was my first Ocean City Comic Con too. So I was actually
look at you right out of the gate.
Yeah, right out the gate, man. I wanted to go the previous year, but I think I either got waitlisted or the capacity for vendors was already full. So I was like, I made a mental note. All right, I'm gonna shoot for it. I had a list of events that I wanted to get done, and it was getting towards the end of the year, and there was like a holiday market that I managed to squeeze in, like just I think it was like days before. And somehow things worked out in my schedule, and a spot freed up for me. And I was like, I'm taking it, I'm going. So I finished the holiday market in DC and then packed my stuff up and drove straight to Ocean City and was like, I'm not missing it. And yeah, no, it was amazing. Definitely loved that show, loved the atmosphere. All the guests were really, really pleasant. All the other vendors were really cool. Like, seeing people that I saw at other shows from throughout the year all coming to Ocean City, also really, really big win, because it feels like a reunion every time I do a con. It's like you run into other fellow vendors. It's like a family network. I've come to appreciate and look forward to that a lot, especially if I'm going to a show that I've never done before. I don't even feel any kind of withdrawal about it, because it's kind of like, somebody that I know probably may randomly be here, and that's more often than not the case. So it's great. Ocean City was great for that.
Nice, man. Yeah. A lot of the vendors that I know of table down there every year. So congrats to them. They're a wonderful group of people, which includes Matt and, I think Rob and Blake and some of the other guys.
Yeah, it was down there too.
Yeah, so keep doing what you're doing, guys. I hope to make it down there one of these days for sure, because Ocean City is my home away from home. The rates are down during the off season, so it's very easy to stay at the convention hotel. The rates are great, so let's keep that in mind, and let's make some plans for this year, 2025. Let's make it happen, and then we can hang out with Matt, Rod, and all the crew down there. We can all hang out, grab some pictures together. I can finally say hi to James, see how he's doing. The other things that are going on down there, and yeah, I hear it's a great show. Lots of great pictures from what I've seen on the interwebs, but that's just that's from what I've heard. But other than that, no, that's great stuff, man. And by the way, just real quick though, if you're playing Mortal Kombat the OG right now, which character are you playing as?
It's either Scorpion. I mean, I'm gonna go for Scorpion. I'm definitely gonna go
here. All right, cool.
It's too ingrained in me, because it was the first character as a child when I played it. It was the first character that I really learned how to do the special moves of.
Yeah, the combos, A, B plus B. Yeah.
The like back forward to do the harpoon, and then he had.
Yep.
Well, in Mortal Kombat 2, he had the joint where he could flip and then come from the other side, and his fatality. That was the first fatality that I ever learned how to do on Super Nintendo. By the way, they did not have blood on Super Nintendo.
Right.
Very different than the Sega version. So that was the first one that I played.
Sega.
But yeah. So for Super Nintendo, it was really easy, because you just will hold the block button and up, and he would do the joint where he pulls his mask off and he's like the flame, and I just love doing that.
That's pretty gruesome stuff here on this is a family show, fellas. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm kidding. Well, I mean it is, but at the same time, like Mortal Kombat is a thing.
Well, I mean, we're on the topic.
But it's cool. It's cool. It's cool. No. I get it. So Mortal Kombat, you're going to Scorpion. Okay, favorite fight scene in the 1995 movie.
Ooh, man. So, and it's funny because I was just talking about this the other day with somebody. Like the Johnny Cage Scorpion fight, like it still holds up.
Oh man.
But it's either that or the Liu Kang Reptile.
Ooh,
Because
yeah.
the way they introduced Reptile, that was the hardest intro because you hear Reptile, then the music goes, and then he somersaults and kicks this man through a brick wall. Like the fight starts that way. I still like it lives rent free in my head. So I bounce back and forth between both of those.
Okay.
I really like the Liu Kang Sub-Zero fight, but I can't put it up there in my top favorite between the two.
It's good.
Yeah, but yeah, no, the Johnny Cage Scorpion fight was good, but God, I don't know. It's between both of them.
Between both. No. It's fine. You know, in the words of the meme on social media, why not both?
Why not both?
Girl, why not both? It makes sense. No, dude, listen, I've watched that movie so many times on VHS as a kid. I watched it on DVD. I watch it. You know, I got it on Blu-ray now. I went ahead and bought it again on DVD because I got rid of my DVD copy years before, and I bought it again because I realized, if I can't watch it on Blu-ray, I need another format. So give me the DVD so I can go back and watch it because it's one of my favorite movies. It's just a guilty. I mean, is it Shakespeare? No, but it's a fun movie. It's enjoyable. If you want to call it a guilty, I don't think it's a guilty pleasure, really.
No, I feel no guilt at all.
It's like legit. It's fun. It's bad. I mean, someone said this is actually written on the VHS box where it says 4 stars, a rock'em sock'em action flick. And
that's exactly what it is. Yes. And as far as video game adaptation films go,
one of the
I will say is one of the better ones, and I will say is one of the first decent, if not good ones.
Right.
If people want to argue that, right?
Yeah, because we can look back on it now and look at those visual effects and be like, ugh. But it's early days. You know, visual effects weren't really a thing back then. They were kind of breaking new ground in terms of visual effects when this movie came out. So it was a big deal for visual effects technology, right? Because the guys who worked on it were like, you know, working overtime to make those effects look as good as they were. You know, with the stinger coming out
with the living harpoon, I thought it still worked. I thought it still looked cool. It was convincing.
And then when the guy gets frozen and then he explodes, I have to say his guts and everything. Almost lost my lunch. And that's Kano talking to Goro, who's sitting in his throne, which he's got like 8 arms and 8 arm wraps.
Animatronics for Goro too. Like I honestly. It still really worked because there's something about having something physically in front of you actually being lit by real light, versus recreating it with CGI. I'm gonna say it. I did not like what they did in the reboot of Mortal Kombat. I did not like the Goro. But I'm gonna stop there. I'm gonna end that. I don't want to trash that film. But talking about the 95 one, yes.
It's cool. It's cool. Did you see the first look images for Mortal Kombat 2? They're making a sequel to that reboot.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
And I like Carl Urban. I like him as Johnny Cage. I imagine that they're doing something different with this particular iteration of Johnny Cage.
They have to.
You kind of have to. Like I said, I'm a martial arts purist. I'm an 80s, 90s action film purist. Absolutely. So I look for a lot of that choreography. I look for the shots to have that. A lot of one-shot action takes. Too much cutting of any particular person not really doing it doesn't really do it for me. Or too much CGI, all that stuff doesn't really do it for me. So I definitely would appreciate seeing more, at least being pulled from. Even if you don't want to go with the retro, go with some of the more modern, martial arts films. At least put that level of choreography into it. I'm excited because in this one, I think maybe they'll finally get to the tournament. Maybe they'll actually have a Mortal Kombat tournament in this one because they didn't in the last one. That's one of my biggest hangups about the reboot. But I understand that they're trying to build a different storyline, different adaptation. So, I'll go and watch it with an open mind. but I am impressed by the stills. I like the Katana's outfit. I like that they're going with the modern Mortal Kombat game design, as far as the characters go. Because like we had our 95, we had our classic looks, and even though Annihilation gets
A bad
trashed
rap.
on them,
It gets trashed.
even though Annihilation gets the worst rap, give them their props for putting
Cyrax.
the work. Cyrax. They put Cyrax in there. They had Sector.
And Smoke.
They had I
Smoke.
mean, and they had Ermac. They snuck Ermac in there, and you had even though it was like, but I mean, at the time he wasn't even really like established as like he was just a red ninja, so it was like you really couldn't do much with him.
You had
like,
Jax.
Yeah, Jax. And that Jax was badass in that one. Like Jax was actually
making all the quippy lines,
Yeah. Sonya Blade with actually her fight with Melina was really good too.
In the mud, you mean?
No, well, not for that reason.
Not for the camouflage.
No, because she was kicking ass against Cyrax too. Like I like that they gave Sonya Blade more action films than they did in the first one. Like she, R.I.P. Kano in the first one. Spoilers if anyone's never seen the film from 1995. But
it's been out for 30 years, but yeah,
you're right.
It's been out for quite a while, and it's available on streaming too, in case anyone hasn't noticed.
As it should be.
As it should be, because it's one of the GOATs of all time. But Sonya was out for revenge in the original film because she wanted to kill Kano for killing her partner, whoever her partner was.
Yeah.
We never found out who that partner was, or maybe it was her boyfriend. I don't know. But then Jax shows up in the second one with the bionic arms. Like, oh, so Jax does make it to the second movie. Okay, cool.
Yeah. And I like that they were a choice. I like that they weren't like a tragic accident. He was like, oh, these I'm just choosing to. And then at the end of the film, he took them off and proceeded to be badass, which if you played Mortal Kombat 2, Jax didn't have metal arms in Mortal Kombat 2. So it was like, it still works.
I've forgotten about that, but
yeah.
And then, but dude, the way they got rid of his arms in the reboot by just getting them torn off or frozen off by Sub-Zero, I'm like, dang, man, that is violent.
Yeah, I was not a fan. I mean, it made sense as Mortal Kombat.
Okay, all right, but still, it was pretty brutal the way they killed off his arms for sure. But by the way, the good news is for Makad Brooks, if this sequel doesn't work out, Makad, you still got your regular series role on Law and Order, baby. So he's playing one of the cops on Law and Order right now. He's been doing it for 2 years too. So
get that money, bro.
Yeah, he's getting that money, man. So wait, Makad, you've done well for yourself because these are their stories. Ching ching. Law and Order fan right here, man. Love Law and Order. Love that stuff. Whether it's the reruns, I mean, some of the new stuff is okay. It's not great, but they're finding their footing. It takes a while to find their footing, as any show would. Especially when you're rebooting a show that got canceled 10 years before.
And 10 years is a long time, and it's like so many, and I feel that way about so many different things. When you start something over when it's been such a long gap, like the way, I mean, technology, everything changes, right? You're not using the same cameras, you're not using the same style, you're not using the same people, like everything can't, so you have to give grace.
Yeah, true. And they're finding their footing. I mean, Maura Tierney, who's been on NBC for years and years and years, and then she took time away to do other projects, which makes sense because you're an actor, you got to do other stuff. And then she comes back, and she just came back to Law and Order recently this year, or this season, I should say, because she's the new lieutenant in town. For the precinct. I'm like, oh, Maura Tierney's the boss lady of the cops now?
Yeah.
Okay, this is interesting. This is cool because, I grew up watching her on reruns of ER, and then she was in Liar Liar with Jim Carrey. So she's had a very long, storied career. Well done, Maura Tierney. For show. But no, those great true Hollywood stories there about meeting the cast of Mortal Kombat, and obviously your favorite scenes or sequences that take place in Mortal. But the cool thing about this reboot, because by the way, I didn't know that was Dredd himself, Carl Urban, as Johnny Cage. I had no idea that was him. Had no idea. No idea.
I love that Dredd. It looked good.
Yeah, but he doesn't look anything like Carl Urban. But when I found out it was Carl Urban in that shot, I'm like, is he pulling another Dredd where we don't see his face for the whole movie? Because the Dredd, he's wearing the helmet, right? So
just the hell out of it.
I just thought that was cool. And then when I saw what Katana looks like, she looks fantastic, right?
Yeah.
And the other background characters look phenomenal. And the other thing I like about Mortal Kombat is Ludi Lin is the same guy who played Zack Taylor, the Black Ranger, in the 2017 Power Rangers reboot movie. is the same
Yeah.
guy. So he's the guy playing Liu Kang in this one, and then he plays the Black Ranger in the 2017 rebooted Power Rangers film. Which
I didn't make that connection.
yeah, and I'm a big fan of the 2017 Power Rangers movie. I freaking love that. I wish we would have gotten more from that cast because they were young, they were hip, they were cool, they were teenagers with attitude, and I would have liked to have seen what they would have done with the Green with Evil storyline.
I wanted to see them.
They
that
were
was one
clearly
thing.
hinting at the end of that movie because you hear the name Tommy Oliver, and he's absent. Da, 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 da. Or maybe it's a she. We don't know because you see an empty desk, you see the green jacket. You're thinking,
yeah,
is it a guy? Is it a girl? Is it a female? Is it a female iteration of the Green Ranger? And I'm like, I would have been cool to see it. I would have been cool.
I mean, it's a whole different, and that's the thing. Like, it's an entirely different Power Rangers
universe.
They weren't even really going the same route, like, because like the typical Power Rangers adapted from Super Sentai, so it was like the spandex suits. They were making them look more alien-like.
Yeah.
They were going the more galactic space warrior kind of
Lost Galaxy.
Yeah, which, like, I again, my bias cap is on because I grew up watching the older stuff and I wanted to see more of that kind of martial arts choreography in a lot of stuff. But within the framing of the storyline, it wouldn't make sense. So yes, they have to learn how to fight. Yes, they have to train. No, it's not going to be perfect. So I accepted that with grace. Also because I saw the cameos of Jason David Frank and Amy Jo Johnson in there. So I was like, they approve. Okay, let's see where they go. So I liked a lot of things about it. I will only say I did not like what they did with Goldar. I didn't want to see Goldar be reduced to a giant CGI non-speaking
gold-plated monster. Yeah.
Yes.
And then Rita looks up and says, "Oh, Goldar, my friend."
Yeah. I was like, this is yeah.
A lot of PR fans, because Matt and I travel in the same circles because we're cut from the same cloth. We grew up watching Mighty Morphin all the way. I mean, for me, I watched MMPR all the way to Time Force, baby. So I know
fell off his space, or no, Lost Galaxy. I was like halfway through Lost Galaxy.
Good stuff, though.
And I know, and I was like,
that was a boss series. That was one of the better seasons of the show, in my opinion, because if I'm going to rank these suckers, I mean, Time Force is my numero uno, no question, because it was the most darkest and the most mature out of all the early Saban era series that we got. Because as soon as Wild Force came out in 02, right after Time Force had wrapped up, I'm like, oh, now they're dumbing this back down to 5-year-olds. No, evolve the series. Let it grow. Let the kids watch it when they were 6 and they're becoming 12, 14, 15, and 16. Like, let's grow with the series.
Right, because these people get into different things. They grow, they change, they
evolve. Yeah, it's the same thing, right? So Time Force is my baby. And then Lost Galaxy, I think, is my number 3, if not number 2, because that series is so cool. And the crossover between In Space and Lost Galaxy was that's one of the few team-ups that people give like a chef's kiss on.
I fell off before it got to that point, and I think if I
missed out,
stayed on, I know, and I think if I had stayed on until that point, then I would have been locked in, But it was, I think, for me, after the Zordon era, and then they were changing the cast again for Lost Galaxy, I was like, all right, I don't want to wait halfway through a season to see any familiar faces and have to get used to all this over again. Plus, I'm starting to get a little bit older.
I'm starting to think about other things that are not TV series related.
Yeah. So it kind of happened when it did, but I would occasionally catch glimpses of Lightspeed Rescue.
Sure,
and I was like, that was like, I was like, okay, Carter's doing his thing. They had a good cast. Like,
they're all great.
Going back and looking at it, like you said, up until Time Force, and I'll even give the Forever Red is probably the only episode I watched of Wild Force.
Love that episode.
But that is like all
10, baby, all 10 Red Rangers in the same shot.
That is probably one of, if not the best Power Rangers episode.
A lot of people have said that.
You can put together if you are a Power Rangers fan and you know of it. Like, I won't rank it because it's just kind of like you have to already.
It's kind of like its own thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but it's dope, man, for sure. And I've met a lot of the Red Ranger. I've met a lot of people. Have you met any of the Power Ranger actors over the years in your time at the conventions?
Yes. Yes, I actually have. So I met the first one I ever met was Austin St. John. I met
Yeah,
him at an
baby.
Austin Con. I
Jason,
met him,
baby. Hmm.
yeah, I met him at an Austin Con in I think 2018. And I was just going, just attending, like just checking stuff out. Um and talking to him was really cool. Like he was just really down to earth, and it was again, it was kind of surreal for me because like I was just walking the floor, and I didn't see his banner. I didn't see anything. I was almost about to walk past him, and like when I made eye contact, it was kind of like, what is it about his face that has me still looking at him? Like I don't understand. I'm like, wait a minute, something about that jawline. I don't get it. And then I looked and I'm like, oh, that's him. So like I walked up and he nodded, like as my brain made that connection, he nodded like, yeah, it is me. And I was like, ah. So he shook hands and everything, talked and stuff. And I was asking him like, are there any other rangers here at the convention area? Because I was still like not necessarily new to conventions, but new to the idea of celebrities kind of having their own tables and being that accessible. And that was kind of like wow, like can you like what you do photos, all this, that. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, at the time I did not bring any money with me because I was in DC just skating. I just happened to be skating downtown with a friend of mine, and he was going to Awesome Con, and he was cosplaying as Evil Knievel. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, I'll go and meet you down there. We'll go play, in the arcade. They had massive arcade hall that year. It was amazing. And we were walking the floor, and that's when I saw him. And I was like, wow. I asked him about other rangers, and he's like, yeah, like Jason David Frank's like down on the other side, and like we just kind of like we're just here doing a thing. And I was like, that's so cool. I didn't want to take up too much of his time. I didn't want to because you have to keep in mind there weren't anybody. There wasn't like a line of anybody like that. But I did want to just be considerate, because it's like this is something that you're invested in. So after that, the next ranger that I met was Walter Jones, the Black Ranger. And I actually did pay for a photo op when he was at Awesome Con in 2021. And I also got him to sign one of my figures that's actually behind me too. And that was really, really cool. He was, I mean, everything you expected him to be, like as far as Zach is concerned. Like, yeah, that's him. He's too cool. And he's still like very active too. And it was really, really pleasant to know that. I met him twice. I saw him at BlurredCon last year, and he autographed my deck. And I'm gonna get that skate deck painted with the Black Ranger on it, because he signed it on the grip tape side, so I can hang it up here. So yeah, those are the only two Power Rangers that I've met so far.
No, that's cool, man. You still got plenty of time. You're young. You got a lot of a lot of moving parts.
Oh wait,
And
no, sorry, no.
Yeah.
Completely escaped my mind. I met Nikhil Reese, the Yellow Ranger, Tanya.
Oh, Yellow Zeo.
She
Yeah,
was
yeah.
also at BlurredCon 2 years, not last year, but the year before. So also really, really amazing. She's super nice, super duper nice.
She is
yeah,
Zeo Ranger 2 Yellow for a reason.
exactly. Yeah.
Kind of makes sense. Ray of sunshine, as one might say. No, that's cool, man. But like I said before, you got a lot going for you, and your career is just getting started, my friend. So don't worry, you're going to be plenty of legendary Ranger actors throughout the course of your career.
I hope so.
As you go throughout this journey of life, the power is going to protect you always. So with that being said, what advice would you give to aspiring artists out there?
Yeah, don't get discouraged. Don't get discouraged by what you may perceive as a lack of progress. I learned that just staying consistent in something, making sure that you love what you're doing, if you're happy with it at the end of the day, if it makes you feel like you're doing something that's giving you purpose, like stay with it. Don't compare yourself to other people either. Like I definitely stay away from social media on that aspect. Like I look for other people that I know to inspire me, not in a competition sense, not in a sense that, oh, you know what, this person's doing something that I need to start doing, or why is this person getting more of, that kind of thing doesn't help you focus on what makes you better as a person. Like if I were to direct or suggest this to anybody, I think just staying focused on what motivates you in a healthy way, finding other people that share that or that uplift those qualities in you, having a community, building the community, and letting that community be your frame of reference in terms of how you want to grow as an artist. Like you want to aspire to work at the level of what someone is doing, not necessarily doing what they're doing, but being able to achieve things that are uniquely to you at that level, right? So it's not so much what they're doing, it's more so the accomplishment that you're seeking out of it for yourself. So it's like, what is it that makes you better at that? What are things that you're already good at that you can improve on? Focus on those things, make those tools sharp, and you'll be able to add more tools in the arsenal as it goes along. But yeah, that's what I would say, just from my own personal experience, just going through navigating the layers of like confidence and satisfaction and approval and all these different things that go into like how you feel validating your work or just doing it in general. Like you got to make it worth it to you. Like it has to be worth it to you before anybody else looks at it. Make it something that you want to be happy with, and it'll pay for itself.
Rock on, man. Creativity, it's everywhere. Just let it blossom on its own time. And, everyone has a creative gift they can bring to this world. And all you got to do is just figure out what that is and share with the rest of the world. That's one of the ways I can say that. Matt, thank you very much for being a part of this episode of And I Quote. Matt Verdell, thank you so much for being our guest on this episode. It's been great to have you here, getting to hear more of your E-True Hollywood story, all that good stuff. If someone wants to know more about you or purchase pieces of your artwork, Matt, where can they follow you on social media?
Absolutely. You can follow me on Instagram at Black Lotus Art. There's an underscore before and after. You can find me on Threads, same way. I'm on Facebook. You type Art of the Black Lotus. You can go to my website to order all of my prints, my stickers. I'm making keychains. I'm going to update that on the site. T-shirts, hoodies, other things like that. If you want to request for a commission, you can also send an email that way. You can send me a DM. Go to artoftheblacklotus.com. You can find me there. I also have a YouTube page. Type up Art of the Black Lotus Skateboarding. I'm gonna try to get more active on that as well. Updating with more videos, more things that I'm doing, and just. Oh, I also have a LinkedIn page. You can go on LinkedIn, find me there, Art of Black Lotus. So yeah, I'm pretty much everywhere.
Rock on, man. Well, thanks very much for being with us. I'm going to talk to you here again momentarily. My name is Ryan of And I Quote Channel. Follow us across all forms of social media, simply at And I Quote Channel. That's where you can follow our YouTube channel, all the great things we got coming up your way. We're on the road to 5,000 subscribers. Once we do, we will have a live stream celebration that will include special giveaways that you, the person who's watching or listening to this right now, are going to be eligible to win. Also, we have merch, we have hoodies, we have shirts, we have stickers, we have coffee mugs, stationery, all that great stuff is located in our Redbubble store. It's in my link tree. The link is listed in the description of this video below, and it's also on our social media bio, so check that out as well. Where you can follow Matt Verdell, links are in the description down below as well. So check those out. Thank you so much for being a part of this. And I Quote is on Saturdays, 12 p.m. Eastern time, and then all our other pieces of programming are going to fall on Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern time, unless otherwise specified. So don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, ring the bell to be notified when the videos go up or they go live. Remember, life is better when supporting indie creators from all over the world. Take a look.
Hey guys, you're watching Ryan's channel, And I Quote. New channel, I just wanted to send a special shout out that you guys will continue to embrace the nerd within. This is Tracy Lynn Cruz, in case you don't know, Ashley from Power Rangers in Space, Power Rangers Turbo. I just want to let you know, thank you so much for all of your support. Ryan's amazing, and I quote your channel, amazing. You guys keep on morphing and embrace the nerd within.
Good morning. Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.